everyone, it's Misty here from the Jolly Fat Elf, and it's the 25th of the month, and that means it's time for a Christmas card with the Crafty Elves. So the Crafty Elves is just a small group collab. Michael from World of Michael Trent reached out and asked if I would do a guest designer post. I did, and then he said, hey, you want to join? I was like, heck yeah. So the 25th of every month, you are going to see a Christmas/holiday card from me. So as I mentioned, this is a small group collab, so I will have everybody's information linked in the description box down below. Be sure to go check out their projects. Chef Kiss, so much inspiration, so good. Make sure you follow all of them. So in today's video, and then a video you'll see next week, one of my goals for the holiday card series was to do zero waste card making. And one way that I was doing that is I was saving all of the strips for when I cut down my card bases, because I cut them down to 4x5 or 4 1/4 by 5.5, or if you cut it, if you cut down 2 card layers or whatever, you always have a little strip of paper. So I've been saving all of those, and in today's video and the one next week, I decided to use those on a card. So in today's video, you're getting a Christmas card, and next week, you're going to get a Valentine's Day card. So yeah. Anywho, if you missed it, I posted a Let's Play with Clay video. I bought a set for polymer clay because I want to try to make my own embellishments. We will get there, I promise. I promise we will get there. At some point in our lives, we will get there. But yeah, so if you haven't already, please consider subscribing before you leave. Be sure to leave me a comment. And if you haven't already, check out Stamp Anything. I am posting there every Friday. For the next 4 weeks, we're going to have a ton of content for you. So make sure you check that out. And I think I have them linked down below, but it's just Stamp Anything. But yeah, that's enough jibber jabber. Let's head over to the craft table and I'll walk you through this card. All right, friends, here is a small bag that I kept some of the stuff in. So I have the longer strips of paper, and then I'm going to have some smaller strips as well. And again, you can do this with pattern paper. You can do this with cardstock. It's completely up to you. And a lot of people do gorgeous cards using a bunch of leftovers. So we are going to use some of the twine, but I'm going to put all of the twine and ribbon and stuff off to the side. And I am going to bring in a piece of paper. So I have some really thin cardstock that I cut down to 4x5 1/4. I keep it in a basket above my head. That way I always have inside card layers, but it's also perfect for something like this. So from Amazon, I purchased double-sided adhesive sheets. That's what you want to use when you search Amazon. Double-sided adhesive sheets. You guys know I love these, especially when I'm dealing with really delicate dies, but it also works really great for this because one side attaches to the cardstock, and the other side you peel it off, and you're left with a whole entire sheet of adhesive. So I am starting with the smaller scraps because they work best at the kind of the corners, and I have started a pattern, and I'm just going to keep going red, blue, black, white until we get to the end of this. And this doesn't take quite as long as you think, and you could do a huge sheet at a time. If you guys remember last year, I made some pride cards this way. So I'm just going to flip it over, and I'm going to use my scissors to cut off the extra pieces of paper. And that's another thing. None of these pieces of paper have any kind of adhesive on them. So as long as I don't cut into the paper underneath, then I don't have to worry about getting my scissors all gunky. You could put this in the paper trimmer if you wanted to, but sometimes this is just a little bit easier. And I'm trying to make sure that I save some of them and then let the other ones go into, you guys know I keep a little bitty trash bowl on my desk, and some of these went into that. So initially, and I'm just using the backer paper from that adhesive sheet to kind of rub it down. So I am using a stitch rectangle from Pink and Main. This is the third one from the biggest. And I used that to cut out the card layer. And then I am bringing in, I believe this is the Heartfelt Holiday dice from Queen & Company. This is one of their shaker kits. And I'm going to be using this ornament that says Believe. And I am bringing in the exact same blue paper. And I'm going to cut this out. If I had been thinking ahead, I would have cut out the Believe. I would have put some of the adhesive sheet on the back of that part of the cardstock. That way it already had adhesive on it. Hindsight's 2020, and I really didn't want to have to recut it. So, but yeah, I would go ahead and add that piece of paper to the adhesive sheet and cut it out that way. Just makes it easier. You'll really appreciate it. Trust me. So I'm bringing in a piece of black because I decided I wanted a black mat. This is going to go on one of those note cards that I have left over from the holiday card series. So this is going to measure 4 by 5 1/4 once it's cut. And then we're going to adhere all of this together to a card later. There's some white scraps, and that's because I was using some embossing earlier, and you know how embossing powder and black is. It just literally gets everywhere. Here's one of those pre-made card bases that I was telling you about, and I'm just going to bring in some tape runner to get this adhered. So I'm just going to adhere this to the card base, and then I'm going to bring in the foam from the kit so we can make the shaker card. Another hindsight is 2020. I really should have ran the embossing bag around the inside of this, because these little hearts from Simon Says Stamp, I think they're Sizzix actually, were very, very, very staticky. So once I get some hearts, some snowflakes, and some seed beads in, I'm going to go ahead and bring in my liquid glue. And again, this is where I wish I had thought to cut this out with adhesive on the back. It turned out to be okay. I didn't make a huge mess. I did put this off to the side for a second while I adhered the acetate, and that I think helped the glue kind of chill out just a little bit. Now with Tombow Mono liquid glue, when you put it down wet, it forms a permanent bond. When you put it down not wet, then like it's dried a little bit, then it becomes removable. So I'm just going to go ahead and use some washi tape to add my twine to the back of our ornament. That is going to be what goes over our card layer. And I am going to be popping this up with some Scotch mounting foam. And then again, I'm just going to go ahead and add this to the card layer. And I'm also going to be using some glue dots and washi tape for that. And I just needed that little glue dot to keep it from moving around. So once I took off the adhesive, I went ahead and got that adhered. And again, we're going to bring in some washi tape and tape down that. And then I'm also going to adhere this card layer with some Scotch adhesive. Brain. Why does my brain not want to work? And once I get that done, I'm going to go ahead and tie a bow, and then we're basically going to be done with this card. I really, really love how this one turned out. I love this color scheme so very much. I also love that this was basically created by using scraps that normally would have gone in recycling. But, and again, you could have done I could have done a 5.5 by 8.5 sheet of paper and then just cut it in half. But did I think that far ahead? No, I did not. I am going to bring in some red glitter dots. I felt like it needed something else to go with. And these are from Stampin' Up. So I'm going to do 3 on top and 2 on the bottom left. And once I've done that, I believe that is it for this card. So I wanted a little heart for the eye. So as I mentioned, this is part of the Crafty Elves collab. I will have everybody linked down below. We have a special guest designer, Chris, this month. So make sure you check everyone out. Don't forget to subscribe before you head out. Be sure to follow me on Instagram. I'm at TheJollyFatElf. As I mentioned, you will get a Valentine's Day card from me next week. Have a good day, night, weekend, wherever you are. I love your faces. I'll see you in my next video. Bye, guys.